All right. Well, it's been a couple years. It's been a while since you've been out of anime, and now you've come back in anime with the rise of Sentai Filmworks.
Yeah.
And go ahead and just reintroduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Chris Patton. I'm a voice actor and primarily known for doing tons and tons of anime. I've been doing it since about 1999, and I guess some of the more known roles are like Sosuke Sakura in Fullmetal Panic, and Greed in Fullmetal Alchemist, and Ashura in Soul Eater now, and a whole bunch of others. So yeah, I've done like about 185 or so anime, and I can't even think of all the titles even close right now. But that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm being interviewed. So yeah.
Yeah, we can really flesh all those out at another time. There's just so much there. But some of the more recent works are definitely kind of more standing out. Like Children on the Slope and stuff like that.
I've actually this weekend seen a lot of Inu X Boku SS stuff. Like a lot of kids have been bringing me Inu X Boku SS to sign, which I've been really happy about because I had a lot of fun working on that show. And the dealer's room has a couple of really beautiful wall scrolls of my character in that show. So that was a lot of fun. And Kids on the Slope, I'm starting to finally see that popping. So I've been to like 4 conventions in the past 5 weeks, and I've seen at each one there's more and more Kids on the Slope to sign. So I think it's starting to catch on and become, people are starting to realize what it is and who created it, and that it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean at Anime Expo they had a huge display for it. They had people cosplay playing the drums.
Oh, that's awesome.
Whole band set up. Sentai even brought in a tank.
I heard about the tank. I wish I could have seen that. Yeah, I heard that was like epic.
So. We got pictures of that if you wanted to see that.
Yeah, awesome.
We're pretty familiar with how you got into voice acting. You have a background in theater.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to go in depth about it just real quick? Or?
Since I was a little kid, I was doing theater, and I did it throughout like my 20s, and it was in my late 20s when someone suggested I go audition for this little company in Houston called ADV Films, and I was like, I don't even know what that is, but she was working there, and she said, I think you'd like it, and it pays pretty decently, you can pick up some extra scratch, and I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever, and I always wanted to try voiceover, and because my voice doesn't always sound this hoarse and raspy, but I always thought I would be like, maybe something I'd be good at, and other people seem to think so I went and I auditioned, and within about 2 weeks I got my first call, and it was for literally a Soldier A role in a show called Master of Mosquiton the Vampire, and then the rest is history. I got my first recurring role, which was Daily Wong in Bubblegum Crisis, and then my first lead role was a dude named Yushiro Goa in a show called Gasaraki that most people don't know about, but it's a mech show that's also based in like mystical Shintoism. It's pretty cool. But so that's how it happened, really. And then from the anime, I started getting into voicing, commercials and e-learning and audiobooks and everything else that I do now. So I've been able to make a career and a living out of voiceover.
All right. Let's see here. I know you do voice acting. You do books and vocal books, and a little bit of theater if you have the time.
Yeah.
Which one springs forth as your most passionate approach? I know that's such a rough.
It's hard.
question.
Theater is sort of like, it's where I began. It's like my home, and I will always love theater, but it's definitely a labor of love because you put so much time and energy into theater, and you get a very, very tiny return on investment. And you do it because you love being in the moment live, like presenting a character, and telling a story live. And there's really nothing like that. But that's part of why I like coming to cons, because you get to do panels like the one I did last night. And that's practically like doing a one-man show, and it's a lot of fun. But right now where I am right now in my career, I'd say the thing I enjoy the most is the audiobook work, just because I'm a book nerd. I love reading. I love books. So getting to, it's hard. Don't get me wrong. It's the hardest kind of voiceover work I've ever done in my life. It's incredibly hard work, but I love narrating audiobooks. It's really fulfilling. The anime again, is a labor of love, because out of everything you can do as a voice actor, it pays the least. But we always, and David Vincent and I were just talking about this last night with each other. We're like, I mean, the money in anime sucks, but you do it because it's a labor of love, and you get to portray so many characters you'd never portray on stage or film, or anything. You get to voice characters you would never be in real life, in 3 dimensions, and you get to do things like you get to connect with your fan base at conventions, and you get to do panels, and you get to tell kids or like people who are interested about the industry and how to do it and how to go about it, and that's all very rewarding in and of itself. So you don't do anime for the money, so you do it for the love. So I think out of everything I do, anime and audiobooks are my favorite. But then there's a charm to things like, so commercials are pretty boring, but what's wonderful about a commercial is you can spend 5 minutes doing a Walmart ad and finish it with the little save money, live better, Walmart, and you've just made $780 for 5 minutes of work, which is very, very different from audiobooks or anime, where you work for hours upon hours and make. No, audiobooks actually pay pretty decently, but anime not so much. But you do it because you love it and you like telling stories. So yeah, what's up, Clarine? I mean, person who isn't here.
Yeah. I guess it's all good. It's kind of a bounce back to I remember our first time. You were actually with my younger brother Byron.
Okay.
And we were doing that conversation. It was a 1-hour interview. It was
Really?
Yeah.
Was that in 2010?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Okay, yeah.
It went from PG-13 to R pretty quick.
Oh God, yeah. I have that in me, definitely.
But
I think I got all that out last night, though.
Yeah. Pretty much giggity.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right. Well, how are you? I mean, what's your stance on like the return of Toonami and the uprising of new services like Neon Alley?
I mean, I think anything that helps the industry stay healthy is great. I mean, if it's legal and it's all done through the right channels and the proper people are being credited and paid, I think anything that helps sustain the industry is awesome. I mean, I love the fact that Soul Eater's on Toonami right now. I recorded that show like almost 3 years ago, and it's just like, just now people are like, oh, Ashura, wow. And I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, it's been a while, but it's awesome to see. It's great when a show sort of becomes. I know a lot of fans, hardcore fans, don't like when things become uber popular and televised, because they sort of feel like they own it and they want to keep it close to their hearts, and I totally get that, but it's great for the industry when it happens.
It's got to spread,
Right,
in
exactly.
order to succeed, it has to spread.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of spreading, I mean, there's a little show called Attack on Titan.
Yes.
Have you checked that out yet?
I haven't. I get to. That is another thing about when you're really active in the industry, you get to check out so little. And that's one cool thing about coming to conventions is you meet other actors. You're like, what are you working on? Oh, that. Okay, and so now I know to block out an hour during my work week to check out this show that people are crazy about and see what the big deal is. But no, I haven't. And there's so much that I also. When I'm not working, I spend so much time catching up on Breaking Bad and American Horror Story that I have to make room for anime and such. Yeah.
Leah Clark totally nerded out when American Horror Story and all that. So.
Yeah, it's one of my I can't right now. Richard and I are we are waiting for October 9th, and we're going to be glued to the television. Coven is going to be my new fall obsession. I just know it is. So, whatever. Yeah. Yes, Leah and I are both very big American Horror Story nerds.
All right. Step back to the past. So we are happy to see you back at NDK.
Yay!
We are, we're happy to have you back in anime again. Let's see here. So you're kind of best known by a lot of the convention goers for your panel. Did you want to talk about that just a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea this would happen when several years ago when the head of guest services or whatever it was contacted me and said, we want to have you back to NDK, but we just want to encourage you to think about doing a specialty panel because so many people are now. Greg Ayers had just started doing, his panels on downloading, and Crispin does his mythology panels, and Taliesin does like occult and anime panels, and the way this whole thing came about is, in all seriousness, I started noticing the preponderance of messages I got on Facebook and in my fan email where people are like, I love how sort of vulnerable and honest you are at panels, but I always feel like there's something more you want to say and you want to open up a little bit more, and I wish there was a forum for you to do that. So I hit her back with, what if I did an 18 and up panel, and I could literally say whatever I wanted and people could ask me whatever I wanted. And now, like, I do it at every con I go to, and I've done it in Canada and England, and I've done it, and it's sort of become, NDK, definitely it's become like a phenomenon almost. And I had no idea that, we started out in a tiny room, and then we got into a slightly bigger room, but even there we were turning away like over 100 people, and I felt horrible about that. And they said, you know what, we'll go in 2010, they're like, let's go ahead and throw it in main events. We'll make it happen somehow. And they did, and I love them for it, because now no one gets turned away. Like, we come close to, we don't really overfill the room, but because it's a giant room, but we come close to filling it and no one gets turned away. So I love that, but I never expected that it would become an event. But like the con director last night literally told me, she said, tons of kids at this con, that's the highlight for them. And I was like, wow, holy crap, because it's not even necessarily anime centric. But right. but we talk about anime and voice acting in it, but you know what it is. But but what I like about what it's sort of become is that I feel like people now get more out of it than just like a laugh at a voice actor saying dirty words. Like, I feel like usually questions are asked that provoke me and the crowd sort of kind of going to a serious place, or maybe a philosophical place, or sometimes a dark place, and you can instead of hiding things in the closet or keeping things locked away, you can sort of talk about things that are hard to talk about. And I think when someone who within the anime community who's known is sort of vocal about things that are taboo, it kind of shines a light on them and makes them not such a big scary deal anymore. So I like that. The main thing I love is making people laugh and entertaining people, but the fact that it's gone a little bit beyond that means a whole lot to me. The fact that when I was very vocal about my agoraphobia and panic attacks and such, and I've had more than a few people say that they've been able to deal with their agoraphobia better since the panel. They've learned about steps to take, and they've forced themselves to go out more, because when they've learned to deal with their panic attacks better. Well, I can't do anything better than that, as an actor, you're just an entertainer and a storyteller, but if you can actually literally touch someone's life and make it better, that's the best thing you can do. And I never expected the panel to be anything like that, but I'm glad it's gone in that direction.
Gotcha. This week through the door, I heard the word charity, and I was thinking, that panel is pretty charitable.
I certainly don't ever, I would feel pretentious sort of saying that, but yeah, I guess, I think it in a way, even as dirty and weird and funny as it is or can be, it does provide a service at some level, and even kids who are LGBT kids, and they're sort of questioning where they are on the sexual spectrum, even, I think it helps them. Well, I've had guys write me, I've gotten home, I've flown home, landed in Houston, and I opened my email, and I've had guys say, I used to be really homophobic, and I used to be really weird around gay people, but you've totally changed how I feel about gay people just through that panel, and that's awesome. I couldn't do anything better as an actor than you can't throw money at stuff and make that happen.
Yeah, you can't open minds and touch hearts.
Yeah. So I'm very happy to do that. It's awesome.
Right. Last time we had an interview, we recalled your favorite beverage was Di Serono, and at the time you were not enjoying too much beer.
No, but now things have changed, and I don't know how that happened. Something changed in the past couple of years where I decided to open my palate up to beer, and now I've become a big fan of Blue Moon and Shock Top, but more than anything, I like when I can go to bars that deal in okay, so 2 weeks ago I was at a convention with Chuck Huber in Minneapolis, and Chuck Huber and I went out on Sunday night after the con was over to see Adam Ant was in town. And if anyone, no one who's watching this is probably going to remember who Adam Ant was, but he was, back in the 80s, he was this big, crazy, new wave rock star. And he was playing a little dive bar in Minneapolis, and we went to go see him, and at the the club where he was playing, we met 2 bar owners in Minneapolis, and they were like, "Come to our bar, and we'll hook you up with free beer." And it was all this locally crafted beer, and the best one I had was this sort of light citrusy beer that they put clove bitters in, and I was like, "Oh my god, I never knew beer could be so diverse." And so like, I don't drink a lot of it because it's not so great for you all the time, and I don't even like being drunk. I like getting a little tipsy, but I like tasting different kinds. So I have opened up to beers, but now like my non-beer drink of choice for whatever reason has become the Bloody Mary. So I'm really big on Bloody Marys now. Yeah, I think I had like 3 last night. And at this altitude, that is my absolute limit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Other changes too. I mean, since then too, you've now got a life partner, and
God, that's right. It's been some. Yeah.
it's been some time.
Yeah.
So I mean, do you feel comfortable talking about that, or?
Yeah, actually, I had, at NDK 2010, he had just moved to be with me from Tokyo, and we'd only been together like 3.5 months, and you never know at that stage of a relationship where things are going to go. But now it's been like almost 3.5 years, and we've managed to. I mean, we've been through some hellish times like you do, in life.
Everybody.
You go through amazing times, but now like we've sort of come to a peaceful place, and I never thought that would happen in my life because I really, really enjoyed being single and alone, and I had kind of written off the idea of meeting anyone that I would really want to spend time with, on extended time with, and so meeting him was definitely a big change in my life. Yeah, and he's here right now. He's here this weekend.
He was in the front row at the panel.
He was on the front row of the panel with Leah Clark, and he's very wisely asleep right now because
Everybody's tired.
Yeah, it's been a long weekend, but it's a good kind of tired. It's a tired where you feel like you've accomplished something and had a good time. You're not tired for a stupid, lame reason. So, but no, there's been a lot of changes in my life. Just, but that's been one of the big ones, and it's been great. Yeah, and that was all sort of starting in 2010. So things have gotten even better since 2010. There's been really rough times, but in general, the arc has been progress towards better.
Yeah. One memorable highlight everybody always brings up when they watch that old cassette.
Yeah.
Is this point in the video you turn, you point at the air conditioner, you fucking air conditioner.
I wonder why I said that. Oh my gosh. This must not have been on a Sunday either. This must have been, because usually by Sunday I've got all my crazy out, and like, because I've done the Shares Too Much panel and I've done signings, and I'm at sort of a low energy level. But I know those videos are all up on YouTube, and now I'm going to have to watch them again and find that particular moment and figure out why I said that. That's funny. Can you remember the context of that at all?
Well, we were just talking.
Did it make a noise or something?
It came on with.
Ah, right. So yes, it interrupted the interview. How dare it?
But yeah, I've had
fucking air conditioner.
Yeah, exactly. We've had people come up to us and they're just like, "Fucking air conditioner." And I'm just like, I know where that comes from.
That's really funny. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Let's see here. How much time we got? We got like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is there any work that you'd like to pitch at the moment?
I'm really, really happy that Another has recently come out. If you're into horror anime, I'm one of the leads in this show called Another. Chris Ayres directed it. Of course, Kaoru and Kids on the Slope, I'm really stoked about. If you haven't checked out Inu Xboku SS, I guess that's been out for a few months now, but I really have sort of a soft spot for that show. What else? We just did the 3rd installment of Five Brain Puzzle of God, if you're into that. I don't know. That's I hate when I do this, but in the past year, I've probably done 15 new anime, and they're all sort of jumbled in my brain right now. I'm in this show called Special A.
Okay.
And I'm one of the leads in Special A, and it's one of the chattiest shows I've ever been in. Everyone talks over each other, and but it's pretty cool. It has another name that I can't remember. It goes by another name, but when we were working on it, we called it Special A. But if you're a fan of it, you probably know what I'm talking about. But I would recommend that one. Yeah, that's the thing is I've been in a ton of work. lately. It's just not all of it has made it to the forefront yet. But I'm so glad people are locking on to Kids on the Slope and Another, because those are the two things I'm probably the most proud of recently.
Excellent, excellent.
Oh, and if you're into Clive Barker, I just narrated 2 different Clive Barker audiobooks, which that was a huge honor because Clive Barker himself had to approve the narrators. So, and Clive Barker to me is like, he's like Stephen King making love to H.P. Lovecraft, you know, like it's, if you don't know who Clive Barker is, he's responsible for Hellraiser, so that will tell you everything you need to know, so yeah.
Yep.
That's all I want to plug right now.
All right, well, where are we at? Got 18 minutes, but I guess we could just wrap it up here.
Right, all right, well, thank you.
Yep.
Fucking air conditioner.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome. Fucking air conditioner.